Hi, this is Stephen from Delaware Camera here for another installment of Delaware Camera Conversations, where we speak with local Western New York-based photographers. Today, our conversation is with Jessica Brant, who has a brand new gallery opening right here at Delaware Camera, Jessica's exhibit For the Culture. So, Jessica, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And for the exhibit that we're launching on May 7th, can you tell us a little bit about the event?
Sure. I was thinking of a way to get back into shooting, honestly. I was reading over the pandemic a book by Austin Kleon talking about showing your work. And, a lot of people across the country are doing showcases like this, and they're titled For the Culture. And I kind of just wanted to be a part of that movement.
What was your first calling, first interest in photography, or first experiences with photography?
I think in high school, I joined the paper. So I was like, you know what? I like photography and I like writing. How do I blend the two together? And I got involved with that. I took on disposables. Like literally, that was during the time I didn't grow up in a dark room. I didn't have a grandfather who did the dark room thing. A lot of people, that's how they get into photography. For me, digital is just more comfortable. And so I started with a point and shoot. After I did the disposable thing, I got a point and shoot. It was a Canon Power Shot. I used that and ending high school on the newspaper into college. And, I danced in college, and I just really, just from going to dance performances, I really loved action photography. And I one day knew if it wasn't going to be something I was going to do every day as a profession, that would be something I loved doing even in my spare time, and like capturing those moments. So that's really how I got into it. It was high school, and it followed me into college, where I got more into like the action part of it. Newspapers too. I interned at a few newspapers.
Working primarily photo? Do you do other video work? You say also within writing. What, from a journalistic standpoint, what are your how do you approach storytelling? Uh,
Oh, that's a really good question. I guess I was always a visual person. I wasn't, even though I worked on the newspaper, I say I'm a good writer, but I'm not necessarily a great writer.
what draws you when in your storytelling? What draws you to a camera lens as opposed to other mediums of art and storytelling?
So if I'm somewhere, I can't always get my thoughts right, but if I'm carrying my camera with me and something happens right away, I can be there.
So continuing down your photographic story and your process, are there any key points or key practices that you've used that have most greatly impacted or improved your photographic skill?
What I've gotten better at is developing a style. So I would say I got better at editing, learning a style that's more artistic when I'm not doing the news photography stuff, which I don't do as much anymore. Just finding something that's uniquely me, I think I've gotten better at. People have told me, I know that's your photograph because you capture the face and movement, you capture the hands, you show the musculature. Like, I didn't know that until people were kind of telling me that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I was attracted to, but people were seeing that in my style. So
Mhm. So yeah, so honing and developing your style. I'm a gear nerd, so we'll talk a little bit. Has there been any single pieces of equipment, cameras, lenses, accessories that you've started to use that changed or really improved the way you shot?
with sports photography, a monopod all the way. Like something
Yeah.
as simple as that. I can't tell you how much like I literally cringed every time to do, to keep that composure. It helped tremendously, like with my sports photography, like something as simple as a monopod, which I really don't think a lot of people that are doing action photography think of that about that. Because when I'm at a game or something locally, like I see a lot of photographers struggling, whether they're kneeling like that, keeping their composure. It's like, just buy one. You can buy one for like $30.
At Delaware Camera, we have several monopods that will fit just that bill, and I think there's the starting model starts at $30, 1 year warranty, no issue. So
Good.
yeah,
Yeah.
there, yes, getting a basic monopod, I fully agree with. And I think, yeah, one of the challenges with action photography is we think, oh, well, I'm going to be shooting at 500th of a second or better, so I'm not worried about camera shake. But that's not as much the issue,
Yeah.
right? It's supporting the camera and holding the camera and being comfortable as you're shooting definitely becomes a big factor. What's in your camera bag today? Nikon D500. We'll go with, yep, and that'll be forever.
Yeah. With the kit lens, I use
Uh-huh.
the tried and true. I use a backup camera that isn't as great. And that's it. Like, I literally, batteries, backup memory cards. That's it. I don't really like to carry a lot with me.
So I would say backups are definitely a significant piece right there.
I remember I was talking to a photographer. He's like, always have backups. Have like 2, have 3, because he's like, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I always have backup batteries, and I often will make the dumb mistake of like, oh yeah, the camera's mostly charged, I'll be fine, I'm just going around the block, and then see something to shoot, and sure enough, I fill the battery, or I kill the battery in shooting it, and don't get the opportunity to really capture what I'm trying to. So yeah, having backups is definitely critical. So I commend you for always being prepared.
Thanks. Thank you.
As far as photographic goals, yeah, is there a dream shoot that you'd want to be involved at shooting?
Honestly, my dream would be to shoot Joan Jett. She's coming to Orchard Park over the summer, and I have tickets. It'd be so amazing to do like just a concert on a larger scale. Yeah, that would be a dream, to just do the larger venues. You get to know these smaller venues, and when you do enough, you kind of get the confidence to really want to step your game up. So I would say I'd love to do like Joan Jett, like Motley Crue, something like that.
I'm going to loop back in and end the conversation, but I want to ask again about May 7th, For the Culture exhibit opening at Delaware Camera. Can you talk a little bit about the images that we're going to see, and talk about that body of work specifically?
Sure. A lot of them are portraits. The ones I chose were when I was first beginning to learn some of those techniques. Like, for instance, with the panning, the one of Nancy Hughes, the dancer, her torso with her hands. That was the first time I was learning the panning technique, like really getting that panning down. I chose images where it wasn't only a memory that I created at the time for someone, because I was asked to photograph that dance performance with Nancy Hughes, but it was also a time where I felt I was getting comfortable in the technique, and I really wanted to showcase a photo like that to show progression. The art part dancers, there's Native American dancers. One is he was a young teenage boy who was a dancer for a tribe called Red, where he's just it's very like, like, it's just awe-inspiring, like people in their having a moment on stage, though, in front of everyone who's sharing that moment. Like, he's literally feeling the music there. So these are really like people in their moments, like people doing what they love. And that's why I chose images I chose.
What's next? What's next for you and your work and your photography?
So I started I'm doing a vintage clothing line. I'm working on building that business up. I'm doing more fashion photography, which I haven't necessarily really done before. So I'm getting more into that. I have an arts magazine I just started. I have a small group of freelance writers that work with me. I'm shooting the cover for that. So I'm really trying to get more into editorial fashion.
And where can we see your work virtually, social media?
So the arts magazine is Eloquent Mag. It's so the website is eloquentmagazine.com, a page on Facebook, Eloquent Mag. My website is jessicahelenbrant.com. I also want to mention, though, I didn't mention about the exhibit. Ken Morgan, who passed away during the pandemic. So I have a photograph. I'm working with a local artist turning into a art piece that'll be at the exhibit. And my interview that I did with him for Humans of Buffalo, a snippet of it will be, showcased with his art, with his portrait. He was the one that told me, if you're going to get into a specific style, stick with that style first. Because he knows how, photography is changing and people just want to do everything, and they want to do everything well in a short amount of time. He really told me, he helped me weigh the pros and cons of wedding photography, which that's not for everyone. It really isn't. He had a long conversation with me about that, and he helped me realize really action photography and editorial work was more my style. So I do owe him I owe him thanks for, talking me through, like, as a young photographer, how to get to that point where you really know what you want to focus on.
As from an instructor and a teacher, many people, like, right, you learned the inverse square law from him. Many people in Western New York learned the inverse square and many other photographic tools and techniques from him. He was a great guy. So
Yeah.
So awesome. Okay, we'll wrap up. May 7th is the opening. We'll have a live stream hosted on here on the Delaware Camera social medias and some other places as well. You'll be able to catch that. And the exhibit will be up here at Delaware Camera, 2635 Delaware Avenue again. Jessica, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having this conversation with me. It was really great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.